Oh, we're on?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that was going to go hard there. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us tonight on Sharky Waters Wednesday Night Dive. We are hanging in there by a thread, just like everybody else. Cassandra Bryan, our Shark Attack commentator, is not here. She's out participating in the quarantine. Eric the Clock Doctor has chosen, with his best judgment, to do that too. We do have Tor here, my good friend, who he and I are like in each other's houses so often that it doesn't make sense for us to like negate that. And then we've got David Lash behind the cameras back here, my housemate and resident shark. We're doing our best to bring the show to you. The sponsorships are always there, so we got to do our part to shout out to them. Harold Prine in Prine Custom Cues out in Spokane. We hope you guys are holding it down very good over there. If you guys want to do some online shopping, I'm not real sure. I haven't been in too good a contact with him about how much he's still producing and being able to ship out to people. Because there is some, in and outs on supply chains that are being affected everywhere. But you can check it out on his website there at primecustomcues.com.
This thing is beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. That's the Lucito Valo that I bought from Sean Lewis. I get a lot of compliments on that thing everywhere I go. So shout out to Sean. Thanks for that, man. Shout out to Tipsy Tomato, our family local bar. If you can have a local bar that's family friendly, but it's got skee ball and pool tables and none of those things you can enjoy either because that's shut down. But what you can do is call them. They are still working to-goes. You can still contribute to that small local business. It's owned by a small, cute couple, Fred and Carrie. So thanks for all your help that you do with the show and with the business for my business on Clean Slate. Pool Tables, our last sponsor. That's me. I'm doing my best to try and keep people connected together through pool as much as we can be connected. Our game lends us at least a 6 to 7 foot space on the table. So try and keep that to our advantage and keep ourselves interacted. A lot of people are out there quarantined in their homes and have pool tables out there. So if you have questions about what you can do about repairing that stuff, you can give me a call and I'll give you the ins and outs about what type of supply chains are intact and what type of connectivity can be had and what type of connection can be done there. Tor, I want to thank you for stepping up last second, being on the show.
Totally.
I'm like looking way forward to being able to unpack all of this stuff because it's almost like the essence of the unravel is what you and I spend a lot of our time talking about anyway. And so it wasn't even that big of a surprise that people started fading off. We had a lineup of guests that a lot of people have kind of backed off of and a lot of people were waiting to hear back from, but it's been pretty slow, but there's like some constancy in our friendship, and I'm sure that there's some constancy in a lot of people's friendships and relationships and family out there that everybody is leaning on. And I just want to take a second in front of like God and everybody to say like, thanks for your help through this stuff, man. It's nice to have you around and nice to have your line of thinking and perspective on it. We're gonna try and unpack some of that, but after all, we are on a pool show. So let's get to doing some pool shooting. Tell me about the drill that I know this is like your favorite one to get to.
This is my drill, man. You taught me this drill, as you know, and I don't remember what it's called. Do you know the name of this thing?
No, I don't remember it either. It was actually taught to me when I was like 7 or 8 years old by a laboring Mexican who worked for my uncle, who worked for a millionaire who was like a property owner, and they had a beach house with a pool table in the. I know I've like shared that story a bunch. I used to go swimming and then play pool in the weight room and all that. And he was in there one day, and he like set him up like that. And I just got on board with like, oh yeah, you get to make like 2 or 3 in a row. You can get to be good at it, you know.
Dude, well, shout out to like Senor, the pool player.
Yeah, Senor Billardo.
That's Billardo in Spanish.
That's what they call it.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. This super grateful for that connect that you had with that guy and that transcended here into like you giving me some tips on the pool table because this helped me like understand English and speed way better and helped me understand that the pocket is wider than the ball and that gives you the ability on like at first what seems like the micro ability to move it to the left or the right and have it still go in. But the more that you become adept at this, you realize like really how much space there is in that pocket and what you can get away with to get shape on the next ball.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in and explain in further depth what he's talking about is if he's shooting at this ball straight at it with no English, it'll go straight in. You could stop it, you can go forward, you can go backwards, but the negligence of the direction of the one ball would be pretty close to nothing. And if you put on from Tor's direction, left hand spin on that ball, that's going to put a little bit of right hand kick to this, what they call throw, to that. And so he's going to come off into this side of the pocket, because if you can see that there's enough space for that ball there's a lot of different target space there for you to shoot on, and that looks like coming out that those target spaces could be like this, but what Tor is trying to do is to still hit it in the center, but put that spin on it that makes it throw the direction that he's trying to go to, and that'll essentially prepare him for his next shot, which would be the 3 or the 7.
Totally. I mean, it changes. So I think the width of the pocket is one thing that makes it feel really small, but when you start talking in terms of degrees, and I mean, I think we're looking at what do you told me about the
20,
V, right?
Yeah.
20 degrees is a lot of degrees.
Yeah, it's like 20 casually and 33 if you like stretch them out as far as they can go.
Totally. And I think the reality is like we're probably at like 29 stretched out. I'm like guessing here or whatever, but
and
that's
then again,
more
all
space
of that
than you might
changes
think.
From here to here. If you're shooting this as your game, then
Totally.
that's different. Because now the line that this distance can travel is going to open up, and that the angle that we're talking here, if you're 1%, if you're 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, that degree, the further it goes out, that looks like it being 5 miles off target, 100 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So I want to stop right there and just say, I know you and me have a lot of planned stuff to unpack about the coronavirus and what people are doing and what people are thinking and feeling and stuff. And I just want to take a moment to say that we are like in the early steps of what is appearing to be like pretty dark times. It was like officially came out by the president that he was like finally not using some like high polishing and glamorizing buzzwords to make it seem like a under control media thing, and he finally came out and acknowledged that I think the projections are like 240,000 people are probably going to die, and that the goal is to try and minimize that number as much as they can. So with the point in knowing that we were like here in the very beginning, that the actions that we are going to like unpack later and the things that we can do now are going to be huge 100 miles down the road, in our future, on how this thing is going to unfold for us, coming from a perspective of trying to like wonder what it's going to look like whenever we come out of our quarantine holes and come out of our safety spots and our bunkers, and what the world is going to be like one day. We want that to be something that's beautiful, and we want that to be something that's better than what it's been. And all of that goal is got to come from the accuracy of the very moment of contact, which I feel like is like now. I feel like with the intensity of we were talking earlier that the shift from the numbers on the news being numbers of people infected, that now is no longer so much of a focus, but is now a death toll number that people are focusing on. That is an intensity that is there to be seen, that people may or may not be seeing, or they may be being triggered to that and not know that they're seeing it. A little bit too hard. But you can see he did wind up kicking it to the edge of the pocket. Let me center you up again there.
Yeah, it does bear mentioning, before we get too deep, I don't want to put the cart before the horse in here, and do point out that I don't think we actually ever said the objective of the drill, which is get the ball in the pocket and get shape on the next ball. And you got to get all 3 of them in the same pocket.
Correct.
No corner shots unless you're getting bored of the drill.
Correct.
So, but
if you want to do that, it's imperative that you get good direction and speed on the first shot. That's not it.
3 strikes, you're out, and then we're going to switch over.
Yep, I'm ready.
I did it like second try before the cameras are on. That's how it goes, man.
It's always the case. What do you know about that, David? I see he's about to say something.
That's me, man.
So while I shoot
that's
this,
a strikeout.
I want you to talk about the things that we can do as a pool community that will help us usher in the most positive forward time that we have coming at us, if that makes sense. Because what's the mindset you have to have right now? And we all know like foundation and fundamentals and focus and alignment and all of that stuff. But beyond that, there's some like, I know we're saying like to not be reactive, you know, be proactive, be reactive, you know.
Totally, man. I think a lot of people have a lot of concerns right now. Nice, that was good shape.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and put forward and right spin on it now so I can hit this cushion. And if I get enough right hand spin on it, it'll bring it over here. Of course, out here would be great, but that's gonna be hard to get that kind of action. So I'll settle for like anything in that area. Barely.
Well, to answer your question, man, and nice out, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna try further out.
I think there's a lot of growing concern right now. I definitely am feeling this concern that there's like a growing lack of empathy. I think everyone is very like concerned about their own situation and what's in front of them right now, and being very reactive to things that are happening as they are happening, and information that's finding its way to their doorstep at the moment that they're receiving the information. And it's only human to feel some kind of way about all that stuff. Sorry, I'm supposed to be like your pool workout partner here. I'm like totally getting lost in it. I'm looking up this website called Elements of Education, which is the
2 rails, 3 off this one, and try and come out to that same space I was.
Elements of Education is like my faithful employer. The nonprofit partnered with Tacoma School of the Arts, and I was forgetting one of their tenets, but they talk a lot about community, empathy, thinking, and balance. And so at me being a teacher at one of their schools, I work a lot with those words with my students, and work those words into my lessons, and have them not just be about music and art, but be about life.
Of course.
And so those words and a couple other ones that I find like really poignant and that really resonate with me are also the basis for a lot of what you and I talk about, our principles of like having a good life through being a good person, not just to yourself, but to your community and all of that. Like those 4 words: community, thinking, empathy, and balance. That's like the basis of... I just remember
because, full disclosure, when I was doing the cleaning of the Tacoma schools, I like stole one of their t-shirts because it had a really cool design of a brain with a like creative side and the like analytical side, and then on the back it had the words that...
Totally, that was probably one of their camp shirts that all the students get every fall.
Yeah, totally. And in my defense, there was like an overwhelming abundance of them, and like literally my job to like figure out where all of these things go.
So that's cool. I have a camp shirt that is a different design, and it's like way too big on me. So if you want to update and you're vibing with those words, we can, I can lace you up. But dude, those 4 things I'm seeing like are just absolutely being ransacked by our state of isolation right now. There literally cannot be community because we're in isolation, and thus there like is a serious lack of empathy because there is like less connectivity between people in like a human to human connection. The balance thing, I think,
even when
is...
people want to, you know. I just want to take a second to like shout out to Eric, who we were fumbling around like, you know, monkeys on a football over there trying to figure out his roles and duties on the sharing and stuff to get the, you know, shares to the different pages and stuff the way they go, the way Eric normally does. And he and I had like a pretty, dare I say, like a painful exchange on, you know, whether or not he was going to come and help out today, you know. But it's like tough calls for everybody, and to be able to maintain that community a lot of the times means we are social creatures, and so it's very...
I don't have the reach.
It's very resistant to our natural balance and being to abstain from socializing, to abstain from our regular routines of socialization.
Yeah.
So there's some like stuff we've got to work on to get through that for everybody. Because we can't just we can't live in fear, you know. Think about stopping and remember.
Or just shoot a rack.
Let's go. Let me get you to do one more, and then think about your like, ladies and gentlemen, your mantra. Give it your mantra.
Totally.
All right, let's rock them.
That first, yeah, you got to get that first one. I feel like the first shot on that one is the hardest. I'm little like disappointed to not make it, but like whatever. That's what drills are for. Come back to it and keep working.
Exactly. That's what it's for. I think it took me a couple tries, but the real trick is that you're using that throw because you're not aiming at the center of the pocket. You're aiming at one of the fins, and then putting enough spin on the cue ball to, in my case, I was going towards you, to putting enough right hand spin on it to throw it that way. And it's those two things working together that slides that ball off to the side to get to that side ball. There's like a grip of action that you have to do there. That word finesse always comes into mind. And that's where I think like when I know a stroke when I look at the situation in the equation at the table and I can see it takes this certain type of shot with this certain type of speed and this certain type of spin, that usually equates to like some type of, there's a moment of finesse there that has to be connected with. And when I do my mantra, this is my moment, on my backstroke and my follow through, it kind of allows me to connect with that intention a little bit better. So, intention, that's the name of the game. I'm gonna split this and see what you call it.
Is it the big coin?
Yeah.
Crown.
Crown it is.
Let's check in with the people here.
I just had my phone go off a couple times too.
I think we got a message and so I want to hop back into the topic. The topic about like the community and empathy stuff. Also just like, this is that thing that I was telling you about earlier today. Random Facebook post. But I want to talk about like the thing that concerns me the most right now is the community and empathy aspect of it, because those things are like really attacked by the isolation. And I know we were talking about it this morning while you were helping me move a couch. Thanks again for helping with the couch, Dom. And now we're talking about it again.
Super nice meeting your mom. Shout out,
dude. She's pretty cool. Those our like ability to be a community is really like under siege right now. And the thing that I think gets hurt the most by a separation of a community is that community's empathy for each other. And maybe I'm looking for it and it's not as bad as I think it is right now, but I just feel like I've been seeing more and more situations of people not empathizing with people that they normally would consider close friends and loved ones and families and even like strangers. I think I'm like 4 for 5 bumping into someone who's been like very unpleasant at the corner store, grabbing a soda or something on the way over here. And I just feel like that's not the case.
Someone tried to steal my truck?
Big time, dude. That's not David, empathetic at all.
Go ahead and break this up, and I'm going to let David unpack some of that.
Don't forget to move that coin, guys. There you go. So, what would you like me to unpack?
Oh, it was your story, really. I just got a phone call from David up on the 3rd floor here at the Sharky Waters studio. I was up there, and David was on the 1st floor, and he gave me a call and was like, someone's trying to steal your truck.
No way, dude.
In the middle of it was like 2 in the morning.
2 a.m.
You had left like an hour or two before, it was one of the late nights that you were here. You know what I mean? Wild on that like crossover.
So you were telling me your truck has like an anti-theft thing, and that's what like saved your butt,
full
right?
disclosure, everybody, like the truck is fine. Shout out to Brian Trudeau at Trudeau Automotive and Pink Slip Billiards. That guy like forever is keeping me rolling on the ground. And he came and
me the one ball.
Came and took care of it in like less than 24 hours and had me rolling. It's all fine now.
Tight.
So it's not It's not a sad story. It's just like feels like what's the word? When they allude, an illusion. You know, in a literary illusion when they. It's like a foreshadowing. That's the word.
Oh yeah.
Of, you know, and I don't want to be dark. I don't want to say it. You know, but people are struggling. You know,
big time, man.
For one, the people who are supposed to have answers for us don't have answers. We can all say that. You know, and the people who are supposed to have quick and immediate responses to quick and immediate crises like these, they don't have those. And again, not to get super dark, but you know, there was a lot of stuff this stuff was like warned and explained to the people who are in power right now that there were things that they could do to be able to mitigate these things better, and those things were ignored. And again, not to get doom and gloom, but I just want to point out that there is not an official protocol for planet Earth for like full disclosure if aliens come. That's like a known fact in like the government organizations and stuff. That, you know, there's like organizations that do respond, but there's no proper protocol on what those responses would be. And so I'm not trying to say that aliens are coming, but I'm trying to say that like we should start putting together some planning and some protocols for things that would happen on bad days, you know, so that we don't find ourselves caught in quarantines, suffering through the dissolving of the threads that keep us human, like socialization and recreation.
Dude, I want to pose a question to the chat room. I safetied you pretty good there, man.
Yeah, you did. Good shot.
People watching the show tonight, I've seen we got Jordan, Daniel, Jody, Dave,
Jody,
Dante, Casey.
I love you,
a couple
Jody.
other people that I'm not friends with, that I'm not seeing on my phone. We're not trying to incite any negativity here, but we just want to know, those of you that are like comfortable disclosing it, like what's the thing you're concerned about the most right now in your situation? Is it like your rent? Is it your health or the health of a loved one? Is it something more like politically charged? Like, and you can be vague, and again, we're not trying to get into like discussions or judge anyone. But I bet that list of major concerns
It's gonna be a wide spectrum.
I bet it's going to be a wide spectrum, but I bet we could boil it down into like pretty common number of categories. I feel like we've got a lot of very common concerns.
Absolutely.
Something you and I were talking about this morning that felt really profound, man, is this idea that what our like planet and what our individual country and what our individual communities, what we're facing right now is like shared, transcending class and race and all this other stuff right now. Like the I'm no like guru here, but it just felt like really profound in the realization that we're dealing with the virus that attacks your ability to breathe. Mm-hmm. And the air that we share is literally the one thing that all of humanity has in common that we absolutely need.
And you cannot argue that part either. I mean, you can like dissect and split hairs on conversations in a million different ways and, you know, draw boundaries and borders and make football teams and jackets and flags for those teams, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, us and them scenarios, you know, and you got people like Pink Floyd who wrote songs about it because it's just a system of, I don't want to say control because that almost gets into too buzzwordy, but it's a system of removing options.
Pretty sure Tor forgot that he had ball in hand there.
Oh yeah, good shot.
It was a safety practice shot, and I think I got him. I mean, you might be able to get a corner of that, but I don't think
It's fucking open swim, man.
that wasn't ball in hand, bro. I feel you though. So, checking back in with the chat room.
I want to give a big shout out to Casey. I saw he's in there. I hope he's still watching. It just says like who was watching. I don't know if it's like who's still or whatever, but
Yeah, I don't know that it keeps it up to date or whatever. We see the number, but
super close in my heart. I think about you and your family and hope that you guys are doing well. Certainly the media would have us believing that you guys are experiencing the worst of it. I'm curious about what you think about your governor. Are you for him? Do you think he's doing a good job? Do you think that there's some guidance there that he needs to be
Way more spin on
led
that
light
one.
to?
Big things. Jody just shared the stream.
Cool.
Jody, that's like literally the
Decent.
most helpful thing that you can do for us right now. Thank you so much. I think in the video description, if you guys are watching on Facebook and on YouTube, there should be a link to the Sharky Waters PayPal. We've been volunteer always, but in times like now, if you're someone that feels giving and you find yourself with any amount of expendable income that you're willing to throw away, it just helps us keep this show going week in and week out. And we want to, like what we were starting to talk about earlier, we want to spread positivity through our like empathy within our communities and stuff.
Yeah.
So on that note, I've got some stuff that I've been thinking about, like 3 things that I've really been meditating on that I would like to share that have like helped keep me sane
Do it.
in times that it's like not been easy. I would really encourage everybody when you find yourself in a moment that is difficult or that is challenging, like especially right now, try to take an opportunity to respond and not react. I know we use those words like very carefully, and when we're describing situations, if we've gotten in an argument with a friend or whatever the case may be, and trying to look back and make sure that we like don't fall into the same mistakes again, is to like really recognize when something you're doing is a reaction, and a reaction is usually defensive rather than being like, with good tactics is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I just want to like unpack the word itself, you know, the to be responsive is to be responsible, and to be
Tight.
responsible is to be able to respond,
Dude, that's,
you know.
Yeah.
And we are all that. And I just want to like check in with that stuff. Sometimes the real like meaning in the words is like right there, simply plain in front of us, you know.
yeah.
Because we do all have a responsibility. I'll tell you one of my concerns, and we talked about this earlier. I want to give a running jump to this story I wanted to share earlier. Big shout out to a guy named Jacob Zeblett. He used to work with Clean Slate Billiards with me for a long time. And one time we were getting some gas at a gas station before we were going to go do a job, moving a pool table for some God knows, you know, who, rich guy or whatever. And he's out, I'm in the passenger seat doing a lot of work on the business, emails, phone calls or whatever, you know, and I hear him like chumming it up with some guy out at the gas pump, and then they like come around to the corner and they hug each other, and then they like, go back. And I'm like, what was that all about? And he was like, oh, it was the old black man. He was like talking about the gas prices and how terrible they were, because it was like at the time there was like a huge gas spike. It was like $3.50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Going up like real crazy. And the old guy was like, you know, I remember when it used to be about black or white, and now that doesn't matter. It's about being rich or poor. And they got us on this gas thing, you know. And he was like, we're in it together. And they like literally like hugged it out right there in the gas station pump. And I was like kind of got choked up a little bit about it. Was just like, wow, man, that's pretty crazy, you know. But it reminds me of that. It's like not even about being poor or rich anymore. Like we said, this is the air we share, you know. And we're all involved in this one. And so my concern is that this dialogue of like essential workers, who's essential and who's not, that's gonna like really start. You know, as I look down our time knife in our line of what's going to happen, I can see people, the increase of the struggle increasing for the people who are not quote unquote essential. I use that word with like cringe in my heart, because we are all essential human beings and we are all essential people, and the connectivity of us all is essential for all of us to be involved, to be able to tap into that connectivity as one. And so it's hard, but meanwhile, that dialogue is being blasted so loud on volume 10 from the mainstream media on who is and who isn't, you know. I have some passes that were passed down to me from some like bigger companies that have some, you know, HR representatives that can print it up and make it look fancy, to where if you get pulled over and they want to see if you're essential, they have it like deemed that installing and building pool tables and removing the old, what could be, bacteria-ridden cloth and stuff like that is essential. But I, in honesty, kind of disagree with a lot of that stuff, and found myself in a little middle gray area of gratitude that I can go squeeze out some work here and there, and a little bit of concern that I'm, not essential, that I'm essentially not an essential worker, and that I'm in the camp of people who are also really nervous about where my revenues are going to come from in the next foreseeable future.
Totally.
So,
and as someone in,
I'm gonna go for it.
I'm part-time. Nice. Thought you had a two for there. I'm part-time in education, which is essential, and then part-time in music, which is considered entertainment industry, which is deemed non-essential. And I've
Say
talked
that
on
again. The school is
Music producing
is not.
effectively, man, all art is non-essential is what our government has told us, you know what I'm saying? And and I think just my perspective to piggyback off of the implication that you're trying to recognize that comes with them using that specific word, the power of that word, is that if what you do is not on the essential list, then it's saying you don't matter, and that whether or not you have any money to pay your rent, or whether or not you're able to afford to eat, is not the problem of the government right now, because they're deeming the following things more important. And it's it's stuff that's hard to argue that it's not essential. You're talking about hospitals and places that give food and water and stuff like that, and the people that are in charge of making sure we have power and internet. That's pretty essential stuff, but it's a really harsh word, again, with no answer to the people that aren't served by that definition, that are just met with more questions and no ansers. It's a really
all
harsh
rights
time.
and intents and purposes deserve answers, and these are people who have still worked their 40-hour weeks. This has wiped off the whole political dialogue of bootstraps and get a job and do it yourself, and I had to do it the hard way. All of that stuff is now no longer a part of the conversation, because there's a whole group of people who are foreseeing intense suffering and intense struggle, who have been following all the status quo rules, who've been going to school and paying their debts and paying off of their, everything on time, have giant, credit scores, and, things were going along well because the powers that be had been telling us that that's how you do things. This is how you move forward. This is what you do, and things will all be all right. But we've come to learn all together now that things are not all right if we do not have the right preparation and the right mindset.
Totally. And so this brings me to my second point on the list. The first one, again, being to respond, don't just react. But when you're met with those questions that are unanswered, and the people that you feel you deserve answers from don't have answers, you need to take a moment to try to first use your logic before you use your emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of ties in a little bit with the first point. I personally have some very close friends and loved ones that are very emotional people, and they respond or react with their emotions before they are able to consider everything, even in making up their own mind or whatever. And I think there's a moment before you do anything where you can internalize what's happening. And people feel pressured in that moment when they're met with news or they're met with controversy that something needs to happen right away. Every person, I'm telling you, you deserve and you are entitled to your own moment of I need to process this. And it's, for some people that's 1 second. For some people that's, depending on the scenario, can be days or whatever. Yeah. But you have the right to not owe anyone anything in that moment, and to really think about what you're presented with and make the right response.
And what your response will be. I want to unpack that word react, to whatever the issue is, to react it is to react, to redo it, to reinforce whatever that problem in action is. That reaction is going to double down on it.
To act again, it's if you're met with something that's stressful and then you are just perpetuating more stress, that is reacting the stress that was just put onto you.
Right.
And that's dude, that reminds me of Gandhi, an eye for an eye, man, will make the whole world blind.
Yeah, for sure.
Making me feel so bad about getting into text argument with my cousin this morning. It's like not the
out.
vibe I want. I'm like wearing his shirt and everything.
That's funny. Shout out to Stein.
Yeah, dude, did not mean to. I totally reacted when I should have paused and used my logic and responded, and that was my lesson.
I already shared with you a couple anecdotes between our good friend Warren, who's on the social spectrum in a different area.
Shout out to Joseph in the chat. Joe Abarca just said, "What up?"
Hey Joe, and shout out to Allie. She hopped on and was watching.
Nice.
Yeah. But Warren was talking about how he had like snapped at someone.
Yeah, dude.
And I kind of snapped at Eric, and it's kind of in the air. And I had mentioned to you that you have to be willing to have a little extra patience and a little extra forgiveness with your friends and your family, and also yourself. Because you may find yourself feeling uptight about stuff. Whatever.
I think a lot of people are feeling uptight about stuff, and I think a lot of people are feeling really worried about stuff. And that brings me to my third quarantine survival tip, which is try to be rational, not fearful. Mm-hmm. Like, you can have worries and be rational about those worries. You can be worried about stuff and not have it affect things that it need not affect for your own betterment.
Right. It's probably a better summarized way of my more exhausted throwing the hands up to you can't just live in fear, that there's like a better way to word that, and I think that's a fine example of how to.
So I was kind of laughing in my mind. You said it's in the air earlier, and that's kind of like our tagline that we've been saying that we're trying to speak into existence, and that is that we share the same air.
Yeah.
So if it's in the air for you, it's in the air for me, and literally this virus that has propagated this whole issue, man, attacks our ability to breathe, is the irony of that whole thing.
Yeah, and again, not at all important anymore. We used to be able to build shows of capturing and harvesting attention and capitalizing on that stuff with a lot of ignited conflict on whether global warming is real or climate change or greenhouse gases or whatever you want to call it. The first thing about denying it is change the name of it. And then, these are classic moves of arguments and debate that they're doing on a grand scale that not everybody went to debate class about and not everybody studies psychology about, but it's like pulling kind of the wool over a lot of people's eyes. And this virus doesn't matter anymore. Now the issue is our atmosphere and the air we share,
Mm-hmm. So remember, try to respond, not react. Try to use your logic first, and then use your emotion or your empathy. And try to be rational, not fearful, because your ability to do well at those things will help propagate improvement within the people that you are still connected with. And as we are allowed to reconnect with our communities, those things will ripple into our communities, which will ripple into neighboring communities. And those are going to be really, really important qualities for us moving forward through this pandemic, is that we have balance and thinking and community and empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to also remind people that as we talk about the reactions of fight or flight, that biologically speaking, that is true, but psychologically speaking and even neurologically speaking, the way our minds function and the way the processes from your emotional processes first, and then your logic comes in after that. So you have to allow that pause, that there is that natural tendency to just freeze. It's like freeze, and then you fight or flight. And a lot of people are frozen, and we're not asking anyone to fight, and we're not asking anyone to run away. We're just asking for people to take that time that they are frozen to execute logic and execute reason and implement a little reach out of connectivity to your friends and your family.
Trying to figure out if this is the handicap Tor's expecting to get.
Dude, if I could shoot any ball in any order and not have to use a cue ball, game over, Dom. You'd be toast.
Yeah.
You have to shoot them right. You have to combo every shot, though.
For sure. I'll play the Shark Attack like that.
It's like pretty much Shark Attack time, right, Dave?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right. So we went a little bit long. I saw the sand ran out, but I appreciate the extended talk here, man, because feel like a lot of the stuff that we talk about and a lot of our intentions and what we've spent a lot of thinking time and a lot of energy on is like trying to promote positivity around us. And I appreciate that we like get to do that tonight in lieu of Eric being able to be here and in lieu of the guest that was scheduled before Eric, that we could still like push some positive vibrations in like what seems to be a very tough time for a lot of people. And that brings me to our quote, probably the people that are finding it toughest of all are those that are like in fear of losing their homes and being pushed into homelessness right now. And I know there's a lot of people that are hanging white flags out of their window. The first that I heard of it was an entire apartment complex in Chicago that all did it, banded together, locked themselves away, boarded their doors, whatever the situation was, and talked to their landlord and say, hey, we're not paying rent. And that landlord posted on Reddit asking the Reddit community, what can I do? Any legal recourse? And as far as I'm aware, the Reddit community like chastised him and was like, you're one of us now. You're broke like everybody else. Boo-hoo. It's kind of the vibe that I got. And so that just was like, what can we do? I mean, I give up. I don't have answers, man.
Yeah, it's an eye-opener to that reality that there's an emerging voice that's like growing louder and louder from the struggling class. And it's even transcending into what we typically call the controlling class. But, you know, when air is the most precious resource, the lord of the land is not necessarily the most vital position. And it's just our time to check in with what is valuable to ourselves as humans and as people and as a society. And as pool players, we definitely want to be back in the pool rooms and back in the tournaments.
Tell me about it, man.
Back in the hotel rooms and giving people high fives and saying, nice game, you know, better luck next time. You know, all of that stuff we all miss. And it will come back. And it will be a better place whenever we come out of this, if we all just promise ourselves that and keep that in our minds and in our hearts as we sit through this together and show our gratitude about being able to connect, at least through social media. Like, what a weird time we live.
It's not the first time that that's been the outlet through like trial and tribulation. You know, I think I remember a group of girls several years ago who had been like captured, and there was like some socio-political like abuse going on, and Twitter was the way that they were able to reach out to the rest of the world for some solace.
Wow.
So I'm grateful that we're able to connect with everybody here in the chat room. And I think a lot of us are local or at least American. And I know we're just sharing a lot of the same concerns. So hopefully we can help uplift you guys through watching us play some pool and learning some drills and talking about all the crap that we talk about and stuff for a minute. That's definitely why we're trying to be here. And this 2-hour stretch is kind of a little bit of a positive escapism for us too, I guess, right?
Yeah, it really is.
We
and
share the
on
same
that note, it wouldn't be a pool show if we didn't have our shark attack, because it's fun to bullshit and it's fun to talk with people, but it's also fun to like slide the wiffle wins on the wire. So let's take a little break, and then we'll do that part. I'll play you Race to 7 and 9 ball. And David can commentate.
Woohoo!
Thanks for watching, everybody. And also thanks to the people who have reached out and did the donations. That's real awesome that you guys are doing that. We really appreciate it.
Once again, I'm back in the booth. Short break. We're coming back for the shark attack, like Dom said.
You have your mic on, silly.
I know. I'm talking through a mic, and I have my mic on. Double mic action.
Double mic. They call it DM.
Freedom Tiger.
Where did
Am I on? I'll tell everybody.
I get it?
Thanks for your patience with our technical difficulties. What we have
How do I get
is
it
a
over
training
here?
session going on with Tor showing David all the ins and outs of the buttons. You also may notice during the shark attack that there will be times when one of the balls are pocketed and there may be a different ball's illumination that goes away on the bottom screen, or maybe it doesn't get removed.
that would
Those-
be David's fault.
Those technicalities are all over there being polished out.
Okay, I think we are good. You guys get
All right,
our
we're
line?
lagging.
Yeah.
So, dude, I'm always so like, can you just pick wherever you want to shoot from?
I'd go on the line. You always got to go the same spot every time. That way you know like your default setting is, because if you go default setting, you start here, but you go default setting and start here, you're going to end.
Well, I feel like I'm always shooting it too hard though, so I might want
There
to
you go.
just like
There you go.
back her
Yep,
up a
yep,
little bit.
Yep, now you're talking. All right, good luck, bro.
I think Tor's gonna win this lag right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Nice. It was
not
that
bad.
adjustment.
It totally, yeah. It would have been at the second diamond if with that
Mm-hmm.
speed. I don't know. It's enough. Oh, you actually need that one, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables in that, dude.
You're talking about the rent stuff. And
Can I try your brake cube?
yeah, of course. You were talking about the rent stuff, and we never unpacked. And I don't know. I'm like starting to lose sight of what has happened in this room on air, and what has happened in this room, just in this room. And so I don't know if we talked about the debt jubilee on the show before, but in the ancient Roman times, that there was a 50-year celebration called the Jubilee, and it's actually attached to like the Yule time and Santeria and all of that, like Christmas celebration stuff, the like old history of Christmas celebrations. It's like not unheard of to give a complete debt reprieve, what they call debt jubilee, to a society because debt can surmount higher than the reason of payout when compared to the growth of progress. That progress is fine and progress is growing, and that society does well, that the numbers aren't necessarily significant, that the numbers are only there to motivate movement. And so the Ides of March is like March 11th, right? It's like the day that Caesar was killed. And if you look, we learned about Caesar being killed, and we learned that people love Caesar, but we never really learned like the ins and outs of why. We just knew that the Senate was overthrowing the power of the Caesarship or the Caesar role in the Caesar position. But that Senate was like against that 50-year debt jubilee. The people who stabbed him in the back, they took that power back, and they don't do that anymore. But at one point, it was a real thing.
So as you can see, Tor had a dry break.
We would like you to participate and tell us about your experience. Having this information will help us serve you better and will help you as soon as we possibly can. If you would like to participate, we will assist you shortly.
And there goes Dom with a Karen on the 9.
Nice job, man.
Sorry, I was still open swimming it up over there.
Dude, I was supposed to be on a 4-date tour last month. St. Patrick's Day hip hop show in Spokane. Scroll down to the bottom of that scene
Yeah.
and then double click on it.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah, like like how fast that reality changed from like what your plans were to like what they are now. we all have to get on board with understanding that tidal wave of swift change on every level goes both ways. That stuff happens for the like repair just as much as it does for the like destruction. You know what I mean? This thing has like the potential to. How was it? I like mentioned it one day when we were talking about like the 50-50 odds of it being positive or negative coming out of this. It's like what's the best odds we've had in a long time for our future being really good.
Dom made the 1 ball on the break, almost the 9 in the side as well. Pockets a 2, gets a little rub off the 9, almost scratch.
Oh man, bummer.
Tor tries a good shot on the 3 ball. Ends up barely missing it, leaving it in the pocket.
We will assist you shortly.
Makes the 6 there with a little bit of draw, bumps into the 7. Good stroke on that 7 ball right there to go off the rail and back to the center of the table. Ends up almost straight in on this 9 ball. Pockets the 9 ball and is up 2-0. Once again, this is a race to 7, 9 ball, 3 foul rule is in effect. Good break there by Dom as he pockets the 7 ball on the break. Dom's probably going to play a little 2-way here. What a try by Dom. Almost makes the 1-9 bank combo. Good hit by Tor there as he barely grazes the one ball.
How's that look?
So Dom's gonna either have to kick here or jump. I'm not sure which one he's gonna go with. Me personally, I'd probably kick one rail past the two ball. Looks like he's gonna try Masayan between the 4 and the 5, kicking one rail. That makes a good hit.
Just kind of like,
That's the scene on the slate. Wait, this one? You started? Shoot. Where's it? Downstairs?
Good shot by Tor. Makes the one ball. Leaves himself a shot on the 2.
Oh,
easy.
wow.
He pockets the 2 ball, but I'm afraid he might get fin hooked here for him to shoot at the 3.
No.
Oh. Good effort there by Tor. There wasn't too much you could do there being fin hooked, but he gave it a good try. Giving Dom ball in hand. Pretty sure he's just gonna play a stop shot and then shoot the 4-9 combo. Oh, he's going forward. He's going for the run out, folks. He wasn't going for the run out. I lied. As he makes the 4 ball, caroms into the 9 to give him a 3-0 lead. You know, being over here in the booth instead of on the show, I give mad props to Tor for doing this every week.
That mic's off. Is it?
Dom with one of them hi-ya big breaks, makes 2 balls on the breaks, makes the 8 ball and the 3 ball.
Yeah. 4 on the break is like a woo-wee.
All right, Bartok. Great shot there by Dom.
Fucking in my head.
What's going on, Jordan? Hope you're having a safe Wednesday. Look at Dom. Dom is just he's got the foot on the pedal here. From the view that I have, looks like Tor's going for a jump cue.
Throw me that chalk. Oh, almost had it.
I mean, what's the point of him throwing it if you can't catch it?
It was a bad throw.
You know, they say if it touches your hands, you should have caught it.
They also say that the worst passes make the best alley-oops.
So we went from a basketball term to a football term back to a basketball term.
That's how we do it on this show. It's a variety show.
Well, he miscued on the jump, causing a bad hit, giving Dom ball in hand. Look at Dom. That combo wasn't wired, guys. He made a good shot there. Giving him a 4-0 lead. Tor's going with the wooden rack, no magic rack.
Nice. Solid. Look at how it rattles that back ball. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
I give you like a pretty fair rack though.
Oh, yeah. No, it gives a shit, but it's there.
Tor goes a little ring game style. And he hooks Dom. They can't see that.
You want to do that again, Tor?
Dom is busting out the jump cue. Tor playing a good safety right there. Tom's either gonna have to kick one rail or bust out that little old jump cue again, and he's going for the jump cue.
Nice shot.
This isn't an easy jumper here.
Nice hit though.
Just a bit.
You just touched that 4-ball?
Yeah, I moved it back, but it's all ball foul.
So Dom has probably then cut this into the top left corner. Just barely misses it. Leaving Tor straight in on the one ball. Tor going with the bridge here.
It's in the trees as they sway in the wind. It's in the cars as they pass in my breath. It's in the dogs barking as they walk by. It's in the sky. It's music on the soul.
Thought I would catch that fin. Yeah.
Mystery refinery rubber.
I was just a little too good.
Good effort there by Tor. the 2 ball, gives himself angle on the 3 to get down to the 4. Probably just play a little bit of draw, slide over. Ended up getting shape on the 4, but ended up rattling the 3 as well. Good shot there by Tor. Gets on the short side of this 4 ball. Gonna have to make a tough shot here to come back and get shape on the 5. Uh-oh, it looks like he might have played a timing shot, folks. Oh. Leaving Dom a tough shot here on the 4 ball. Simply a little bit of a bank safe here. 2 balls gonna go right behind the 7. Just like that. Tor's gonna try measuring out a 1 rail kick here. Good hit there by Tor. Actually went the two rail.
I know the mirror. That's pretty much the one. I know. Forgot what it was.
Little nice sportsmanship there shown by Dom. Sliding the chalk down the rail. Tor with the behind the back pass to Dom.
You'll see us on the court, dude. We haven't lost a game in a minute.
Yeah, for sure. Those memes.
Tor says that we should see him on the basketball
Day 15
court. They
without
haven't lost
basketball,
one
throwing chalk to your friend
in a
behind the
minute.
back.
Well, maybe the fact is you haven't lost one because you haven't been there in a while.
That's true too, but
Oh, trying to get back there.
Dom tried playing safe there.
I think I'm gonna. This is the beat that I was gonna write that song called like I Got the Drip, but have it just be like all talking about really normal stuff that's like not what other rappers rap about. But like I paid off my like first car. I got the drip. Everyone else is like I got 3 Lambos.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like
sure.
I got a Kia.
Tor also plays a return safe on Dom.
Nice shot.
Did that hit the rail?
No, but the 4 ball did when you bounced it.
Totally. I was like, oops.
Dom tried Massane around the 7 ball. Unfortunately, it makes contact with the 7 ball, giving Tor ball in hand. Oh, that looks like push-ups, folks. Scratch on ball in hand. They're not in. You're not in the camera, but I can make it work. There we go. Dom isn't even gonna wait for Tor to get them push-ups done. And because of that, misses ball in hand.
That's how you shark them, folks.
I know personally I would be sharked instantly with a guy just busting out elevated push-ups. And,
I tried to ignore it. So far, for the record, Tor's the only. Now the table's leaning that way. Tor's the only one who's done the decline push-ups like that, the elevated ones, on the show.
felt like wobbly after doing my push-ups as I was lining up that shot, and I was like, oh, I should slow down. Oh, well. Oh, I missed it.
It's like
Oh,
going to
yeah.
shoot free throws after lifting weights. I kind of like that feeling. It's weird.
It's good to do that. I was talking, one of my students sent me a Instagram DM, and we were talking about working out. He's like a nationally ranked climber, senior in high school.
Cool.
Super good shape. And we were like comparing, like, what do you lift? What's your regimen? How many reps? We found a workout that we were pretty similar at. And I was like, I try to like go to 10 on that one for 3 sets, and then start changing the weight on sets 5 and 6 and 7 until I just can't lift it anymore, and then it's time to move on.
Dom got shocked by Tor. Giving Tor a
like,
chance
10?
on this 9 ball.
And he was like, after you, that's like you only start counting like after it starts to burn, that's when you start counting 10, right? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, I'm like 23. And I was like, oh man, you're way stronger than me.
So that's a good way to go for it, to start counting when it starts burning.
Yeah.
Oh, Tor
I knew that was going to happen.
fins.
Yeah, sharked himself.
Dom wasting no time to get down and shoot the 9 ball. Giving him a 5-0 lead.
Wish I could get a break and run here. Not everybody can play like David Lash.
I don't know a lot of people that want to play like me.
Oh, I made it fall off.
Now they're really going to find it.
Not right there, they won't.
Can't see it.
Can't see her?
If it's sideways.
Has anybody found the hidden shark yet?
Wonder where it could be.
Dom makes the 1 ball on the break. There's a somewhat of a tough shot here on the 2 ball. Let's take a look to see if it goes. It might go, might have half a pocket. Dom gives it a try, ends up missing it, but also hooking Tor at the same time.
Oh wait, it's the wrong one. Should have asked. I washed my hands. That fucked up.
Making a bitch and shit.
He makes a good hit there, but I'm going to have to jump off the mic real quick.
I don't actually want to use it.
The guys are over there trolling me a bit.
Just wanted to
Dom
try
makes
it
the
out.
2 ball.
It made me miss the shot. I don't think it's the one for me.
That's not the one.
Dom makes the 3 ball. He's going to play a little bit of top here. Try getting to the center of the table to shoot the 5 ball past the 8 or the 5 in the side. Tor's gonna try kicking 2 rails behind the 9. Probably not gonna be a good hit. I think the easiest way to go about that would have been kicking between the 6 and the 7, 1 or 2 rails. Tom underhit that just a tad. No, it's looking very safe to play here. And he ends up finding a safe.
It's kind of a plan, but kind of lucky.
Tor is measuring out the 2 railer. Don't forget, guys, free foul rule is in effect. Dom's just gonna wanna slowly make this ball.
I heard you say that and I couldn't remember. He's out now.
Tor pockets the 6 ball. Teresa, you are the first person to see where the shark was. And Tor throws the shark off the table.
Yeah, nice. Shark out of water. Nice
Tor
shot.
just drills the bank on the 7 ball and gets shaped straight in on the 8.
Yeah.
What a shot there by Tor. Pockets the 8 ball. Leaves himself a tough cut on the 9. He might be shooting it in the side. He might be shooting it into the corner. We'll find out. And he makes it into the side.
Yeah, nice.
That one puts Tor on the board.
Keeps you out of the club.
Fuck yeah, dude. Figure you give me one at least. And I was like, I'm gonna have to actually earn this shit. It's good, man. I felt like a real win.
Dude, that 7 ball bang, that was stupid. With perfect shape on that. Nice. Here he comes. Look out. Oh, I see Shane me.
Did I?
Nice fucking work.
My bad. That was unintentional.
Oh, it's too good.
It's like when your team loses the game, but your team still got the top 10 highlight on ESPN that night.
Dude, I feel that way a lot on this show. On the break.
Tor makes the 1 ball on the break.
Nice.
Dom with a beautiful bank on the 2 ball. Giving him a chance to possibly bank the 3 or cut it in to the top left corner.
You know when you take the balls off, you gotta hit the thing here for them to disappear, right? Then hit that button.
I
See,
had
now it
no idea.
disappears. It's all good, man. Nice. Still got 19 people watching this match right now.
Dom with a good combo on the 7 ball. Ends up getting shape on the 4.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Dom with a good shot there on that 6 ball. Ends up almost perfect on the 8.
You don't think that's perfect?
Well, I mean, if you were off the rail a little bit, it would be
Okay, fair enough.
ideal.
Fair enough. You're right.
Dom stays down on that shot and makes the 9 ball.
Was it you that I was looking at when you spin them? And then, like, depending on what the number is, it makes like a different shape.
Yeah, the 9 looks like a question mark, or it did on your old TV balls, anyways.
Yeah. What? Yeah, it was a triple or whatever.
Reminds me of an art project that I saw, which was people like taping like 3-inch cardstock that they had like drawn different pictures on, and then folding it, and then opening a tiny slot, and then putting that on a record player and making a movie out of like 7 things in a row.
Yeah. Like a little animation.
And that the class project was to like go find a record and then get inspired by that record and then like draw the movie that would play to like that record.
Correct.
Dom with a good break. Sounded like he made a ball there.
Comeback time, man.
Misses the 2 ball, but makes the 6 on the other side. Eisen has to shoot a combo on the 5 ball. Good shot there by Dom. gonna play a little bit of draw, try holding the ball. Hits that nice and firm. And he almost had the
almost a
break
run
in
out,
run.
dude. Way to go, Dave.
Lash got him with the firm comment. Dom's over here meditating. You can hear him breathing.
Nice work.
That was a pretty run there by Dom, though.
That's cold, man.
Too good.
It's exactly the same amount of wins that I got last time I played Dom.
Well, it's not over yet, man. Listen to you. You're at the table. You can get one on the break here, dude.
I think he's trying to save that for the break pot.
Trying to get that money.
So glad the camera was not looking at you when you just did that, because you would not have liked the replay.
Probably good for my career that wasn't the case as well. Moscone, you gonna wish me some good luck?
He's like, I don't know. You gonna get into wet food?
He's like, you guys bought 8 pieces of chicken. You bought my own body weight in chicken and didn't give me any. Oh, I got the 9 too.
Bummer.
And he scratched. So that does not count as a win, guys. The 9 ball will be taken out of the side pocket and put on the spot.
Got it on the replay. It hurt more the second time.
Not sure what ball he comboed in there. I think the 7 ball? The bank? Good shot there by Dom on that 1 ball. Leave him the 2-8 combo. So need a little nudge on this 5 ball. As he
I was gonna get behind it.
Good shot there, coming 2 rails back out. A little bit past center of the table. Ooh. Dom jumps up just a hair, which causes him to rattle that ball.
Yeah. Good call.
Dom's able just to see the edge of this ball, which is probably going to allow him to make the cut into the corner. Just like that. Dom avoids the scratch in the side.
Void's the void.
He voids the void, guys. Leaving Tor big here on this 5-ball. Ooh.
Side pocket.
Fin into the fin.
Safety.
Into the safety.
Is he gonna end up safe?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna
I'm
catch
not
it.
really
Dude.
sure what's going on right there.
I didn't even know
but,
you could do that.
Looks like Dom has been practicing his hockey skills with pool balls.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I totally thought you were gonna grab that.
Scared the shit out of me, bro.
You just like.
Tor had no idea what to do when balls came flying up off the table. Dom hits a beautiful bank, leading him straight in on the 9-ball. Can he close out the match? Just like that, straight in 9-ball.
Now the break pot. Let me do the announcement for the break pot. All right, everybody. Oh, I got a mic. Is
Yeah,
that
cheap.
on?
Mic's on.
It is on.
Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on all of that. That was our open swim with Tor Bjorn. Please take a look at him at
Beatsbytor.com.
and on Mondays. If you haven't seen, I share every week, and the sharing is important. Sharing is caring, and we all share the same air. So on Tor's Case of the Mondays, I was talking with him earlier today about when we all get to crawl out of our holes and get to recommune with each other. Let's not have it be a regular Monday. Let's have it be like a nice celebratory, a jubilee, if you will, day for everyone to be celebrated. Of all creatures and race and creeds. Thanks for your time, for sharing that stuff. I know that the way that you analyze and process stuff and your advice on your 3 tenets of surviving the quarantine and the pandemic. Let's go over them one more time. Try to respond and not react. Try to use first your logic and then your emotion, and try to remain rational and not fearful. Dude, good luck with the break pot. Don't forget, you got to put your $10 inside of the treasure chest, Anybody who is new to the show, we have $340 acquired up in there from every former guest from this season. You can go back and watch their shows. Our shows are archived on YouTube. And hit the like and subscribe button on that page would do us a favor. And then also do your sharing and likes. And thank you for all the comments and engagements in the comment threads. We super appreciate it, all of you guys. Like, it doesn't keep the real time of who's watching with us, but it does say, like, Sarah knows there. Hope you're holding up good. Did you give it to him, David?
I gave him the red. See if he likes it.
All right, so you guys know the money is now inside the treasure chest. That was inside the treasure chest, and so Tor is now legally able to try and take his attempt at the single man tournament here. That is, in one turn, he's going to get the opportunity to break and make the 9-ball or run out the rack in all legal terms of 9-ball. And if he does, he'll win that money. Good luck. Go. Something.
Something go. Come on.
Try break.
I want my money back.
Yeah, we're re-rack. Full disclosure, we had that one a little bit rigged, and it was closer than almost any of them have ever come. That was way close. David, nice rack. That's funny.
Almost had him.
Big shout out to the sponsors. Again, to everybody. What you can do on the economic level is spend your money where you can, when you can, on the think locally and act locally. Think globally and act locally. That's the saying. Do your shopping and your spending in the local community if you can. Of course, there's like avenues of different products that are necessaries that we all have, like our main chains of supply that we go through. But keep it small, keep it close, keep your circles close, keep your outer circle at a distance until this thing blows over, and keep tuning in. We'll keep trying to push as much content as we can. I have a whole lot of like housekeeping, that's literal housekeeping in my house, and as soon as I get to that stuff, I'll be like enjoying more time on my pool table, and I'll be doing some more live stream stuff, even if it's just me doing some matches against the Ghost and unpacking some thoughts and visiting with you guys. Harold Prine from Prine Custom Cues, thanks for the pool cue again. I think I did it good justice tonight, played pretty good.
Yeah, good game, man.
And then who else we got? Me, Clean Slate Pool Tables. Don't forget to give me a call, and Tipsy Tomato, give them a call. They got awesome pizzas. They got all kinds of stuff.
We'd be going there right now if they were still open.
We would be going there right now if we weren't instructed to stay home and stay safe. So you guys stay home and stay safe. Enjoy your practice. Get it in if you can, and get it in if you can't. Everyone enjoy perfect performance. Perfect practice makes perfect performance. Enjoy peace.
Ta-da. Now normally is the part where I cut all our mics, but instead I'm gonna...
Still on. Walk over here and push a couple buttons.
Having this information will help us serve you better and will help you as soon as we possibly can. If you would like to participate, we will assist you shortly.